2008, the Commerce Department of the United States warned that house permits were nearly 30% lower than the year before. The Bush administration ignored it.
The recession officially began in December 2007, caused by the subprime mortgage crisis, when home loans were given to people with too low of credit scores.
Banks and mortgage companies began declaring bankruptcy, the largest bankruptcy filings in American history. As a result, housing prices dropped, leaving people in houses valued less than their loans cost, causing 360,000 foreclosures in the month of July 2008 alone.
Throughout the recession, the net worth of American households dropped 20%. The GDP fell 4.3%, and unemployment rose 10%. By September 2008, 6 million Americans had lost their jobs.
Over 18 months, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost half of its value. The largest point drop in history until last year occurred on September 29, 2008. Anyone owning stocks faced significant losses.
However, this didn't just impact the citizens of America, as the effects of the recession rippled throughout the world, Germany, Japan, and China being among those hit the hardest.
Europeans paid the price for dabbling in American housing markets, while Japan and China were affected by the declining trade industry in the U.S.
In an attempt to end the recession, the U.S. Federal Reserve reduced national interest rate at one point to 0% in order to encourage borrowing.
The presidents also lent a hand in these trying times. For example, President George Bush passed the Economic Stimulus Act and the Troubled Asset Relief Program to keep citizens afloat and businesses from failing.
President Barack Obama passed the Dodd-Frank Act, the Homeowner Stability Initiative, and the Making Homes Affordable Act in order to alleviate some of the damages done from the recession.
All this and the $350 billion used to bail out banks led to the end of the recession in June 2009.
Now let's hear from Jamie Santosa, someone who experienced the recession firsthand. How did the recession affect you and the people around you?
Well, it hit everyone pretty hard. A lot of us lost our jobs and our homes. Those who had their jobs had longer work hours, which means their kids were left unattended or they had less family time together.
How did people react to the recession?
Oh, of course, morale dropped pretty low. There was a lot of depression and feelings of hopelessness because everything was so uncertain as to you could still have a job, where you would live. It was a pretty dark time for everyone.
How do you feel about the government's reaction to the recession?
I think a lot of people were upset at the government, but in reality, I think they're just doing what they can do and as best as they can. Obviously, nothing's going to quickly stop the recession, but I think they made the effort they needed to. And I think in the end, it did help us get out of it. So.
Are there any positive aspects of the recession?
But one of them might be that because there was less money for everyone to spend, materialism was a smaller part in all of our lives. We had more time, or we thought more about spending time with people, and the definition of what a good life wasn't just how many things you could buy. It was more about simple things that you could do together, or so that was kind of good.
The main cause of the Great Recession was caused by banks and then giving mortgages to people who couldn't pay them back. These were called subprime mortgages, which were given to people with low credit scores. Banks started subprime mortgages because in the early 2000s, home prices were rising fast. So banks believed that if they gave out money to people to buy homes, they would be able to pay them back. But in 2007, the housing market crashed and the Great Recession began.
Even though the recession hit really hard, it taught us some really valuable lessons, like don't always borrow the maximum that the bank approves, because when the crisis hit, many homes lost more than 50% of their value. We were also taught don't fall into the trap of wanting instant gratification. Even a decade after the recession, many people are still rebuilding their credit. And the last most valuable lesson was don't let market fluctuations make you do something you regret. Many pre-recession investors didn't bother to look at their portfolios until after the markets had already taken a hit.